In rapper YNW Melly's witness tampering trial, state attorneys confirming the witness tampering charges dropped against the rapper. Before that announcement, the jury selection was expected to take place tomorrow.
Following Melly's significant victory in court today, the judge mentioned a release date. Melly will not, it says, go to trial for tampering with witnesses after the prosecution withdrew the accusations. On Wednesday, January 21st, the Florida rapper's trial was set to begin, but after prosecutors decided to drop the case during a hearing on Tuesday, January 20th, Melly's attorney, Drew Finling, wrote, "We now look forward to seeking Melly's release from custody, where he has been held under extraordinarily restrictive conditions for far too long based on premises the state has now abandoned." Drew will use the evidence they had against Melly for witness tampering to show the judge that they are afraid to go to trial, so his release will enable him to fully and meaningfully participate in preparing his defense in the upcoming proceedings, which we intend to litigate vigorously. As an illustration, they actually arrested his ex-girlfriend and told her to leave the country.
Mariah Hamilton is spending her first day at the Broward County Jail. She has no arrest record until now. U.S. Border Patrol agents arrested her at Miami International Airport Monday after she arrived on an international flight. Court records show Hamilton was ordered to testify in Demon's first trial in 2023.
When Melly's trial started in 2023, the police wanted Mariah since she had failed to appear. Spam calls and house calls. She could not be located. She did, however, intend to return home by the end of 2025. The police's security alert was sent off when she used her ID to buy a flight home because she missed her family. She was detained after being sworn in by police while she was waiting for her bags at the airport. Audio when the state dropped the charges, the industry responded. The mother of Melly wrote, "God is good and he hears your prayers." Even 50 Cent believes that Drew Finling and a bad man, outweighing all of these arguments, but the state dropped the charges for one particular reason, which I will explain. The prosecutors dropped the witness tampering case against Jamal Demons in the 5-page memo to avoid jeopardizing important jail call evidence essential to proving consciousness of guilt. In his pending Dublin trial, it says, due to the unresolved suppression of jail calls, which could result in acquittal and the loss of important evidence required for the 2027 trial, the state wanted to withdraw the case. In an attempt to prevent important witness Mariah Hamilton from testifying in his Double M case. Melly was accused by prosecutors of witness tampering and gang-related activities, despite not reporting any income. Financial documents reveal that Hamilton received almost $31,000 from Demon's management business and allies, along with help buying a Mercedes. Demons are seen controlling a relay system using inmates James Howard and Terrence Mathis to send messages outside of jail despite losing phone privileges in jail calls, surveillance footage, and inmate Kite's music. Nonetheless, in a subsequent document, it states, recorded calls and messages instructed associates, including co-defendant Bortlen, to keep Hamilton away from court using coded language and nicknames, which was exposed by Juvie's father during an interview 2 years ago.
There was this kind of crazy way that Melly was communicating. He wasn't allowed to use the phone, but he was passing notes to people, and then this person's calling this person and then that person.
Saying like to me, they going through extreme measures, try to cover up or convince people not to testify, like Mariah mom. They was using code words like Rihanna and A$AP Rocky's baby mom.
But since Mariah was the lone witness in the witness tampering trial, this is a really clever move by the prosecution. Their side to testify in opposition to Melly. She wouldn't be allowed to testify again in the problem trial if she had testified for witness tampering. The prosecution would require her to retain the evidence she had, which they would then use against Melly in the Double M trial in addition to the evidence Bortlen shares. This indicates that Melly is being opposed by both of his pals who are involved in the case, when it was revealed that Bortlen had accepted a plea bargain and turned informant. Additionally, he accepted a proffer, indicating that he is conversing. He will serve 10 years plus 6 years on probation for accessory after the fact, with no music credit. Although we've previously asked for his deposition in the civil case, scholars went into more detail about why Melly's situation is so dire. According to the judge, Bortlen did not contest either of the counts, but in order to accept the plea, he must present a factual basis. In other words, he must provide a true account of how he was an accessory to the crime, proving that it actually occurred. It's a gun plea, but he can't answer yes, ma'am, since he has to sing like Frank.
I did tweet out saying people are upset. I said this is a gunner plea. This is a gunner plea. This isn't a plea saying you have to tell on him, but this is a plea that you're going to have to provide all the details that they were missing to convict him. And that's why it's a gunner plea. Why do I say he signed a gunner plea? Because YNW Melly, and I watched the case, we covered it. YNW Melly's case is that, number one, you guys have not done a job to prove that this is actually they are proved, but prove that this is a homicide with this person being the offender. Also, the accessory after the fact plea confirms that Bortlen, that's kind of like almost like a sub part of a conspiracy, except you weren't with the conspiracy at first. You came in after the fact. What that proved is that they came in. Oh my God, what that proved is that Bortlen worked with someone after he acknowledged that a took place in trying to cover it up. You hear what I just said? When pleading to an accessory to after the fact, you have to acknowledge that it happened and you assisted someone or in some way to cover the. Now, if Melly's statement is, how do we know that, and then secondly, how do we know who did, because they said it was a drive-by.
Since the simplest interpretation is that Bortlen is essentially cleaning his name of being in charge of eliminating Juvie and Sack Hazer, which essentially leaves Melly as a potential suspect. They obviously say it was a drive-by, but when Bortlen is compelled to acknowledge that the crime took place inside the vehicle, Melly will be eliminated. After looking at the agreement that Bortlen accepted, an experienced attorney even predicted that he would turn on Melly.
He will be flipping. He is going to be tell-all about anything he knows about the double case, and they will know if he's telling the truth or telling a lie when he gives his full quote-unquote confession as to what happened that evening. And that's what happens. A lot of times where guys are in the prison for 4 or 5 years awaiting trial and looking at a life sentence, and they're offered 10 years where they'll be home probably in another 3 years that he'll serve, he decides to flip and become a cheese eater. And that's what happens a lot of times on these cases, and I was expecting it to happen a lot sooner than it did. He held out for quite some time, but long story short is it looks like he's going to flip, and it makes the case on YNW Melly, depending on what he says, which I anticipate he'll say that YNW Melly is responsible.
However, Melly's attorneys have been exerting every effort to improve Melly's circumstances, and they are currently suing the Broward Sheriff's Office for harsh treatment and demand Melly's immediate release from prison, claiming she hasn't been permitted to communicate with family members for 3 years. The thought of Melly doing this appeals to other rappers, who commented, "I like what I'm hearing right now. Melly, shout out that boy. Let him go. He's been inside for too long." The primary basis for the case is their allegation that he has been made to stay in a frigid detention cell. He doesn't interact with people and is given food that is almost edible. Melly's mother responded to the complaint and its allegations, and it was stated that an interview with Melly's mother revealed a troubling account of Melly's life behind bars. He doesn't seem to be around for very long. As a result, Melly's mother said during the interview that Melly was no longer able to use the jail phone.
My son has not been convicted of anything, and even other inmates that have been convicted or anything, they have the right to use a telephone. They have a right to just to be allowed to write letters to their loved ones, to receive their mail. They hold his mail, they don't give it to him.
All in all, she feels a great deal of sympathy for Melly and his internal struggles. As the interview went on, she expressing her sorrow for him.
When you saw Melly's statement, just saying how he's been hurt, how he's scared for his life, as a mother, how did that make you feel?
It's heartbreaking. It made me feel completely helpless. Broward Sheriff's Office definitely needs to be investigated. I mean, they are making up their own rules. We tried to go to court about this situation. The judge really doesn't have any jurisdiction when it comes to the jail, because we actually had a hearing about the mistreatment of him, and the jail they make their own rules. And I don't think that's fair, because I know that they need to answer to someone too.
However, This caused the media to respond to the matter, and Charleston White said that Melly should have a difficult prison term for the transgressions he committed.
The YNW Melly, I'm so happy he in jail getting mistreated. Yeah, I'm so happy he in jail getting mistreated, homie. Homie, when you take a life, homie, you ain't got a right to complain about a motherfucking thing, about being mistreated. When you done chose to play somebody.
One rapper, Boosie, even expressed his sympathy for Melly's mother and the stress she has experienced.
Okay, so
then I met his mama while he was in.
Oh, okay.
I met his mom while he was in, and she real, bro. You know, she real.
You stressed out. I heard she had a.
Yeah, she real, and I reached my hand out to him, cause I'm real. Yeah, I reached out to him, bro. I met his mom, and she a good woman, bro. And when I see them mamas like that, it remind me of what my mom was going through, bro.
However, the judge allowed both parties to present their arguments for or against Melly's release from custody, which had the judge is reminded by the prosecution that they have text evidence of Melly taking responsibility for the crime.
The PC Gambino account asked him if he was okay, and his response was, "I did that," and placed a smiley face emoji.
And the next message from 10/26/2018 at 16:02 from Eastern Standard Time. The YNW Melly account says what?
After that, SHHHH.
The footage of Melly dancing with Bortlen in the parking lot and appearing content was also mentioned.
Melly still turned regardless of what happened this early morning. He's still out here being very positive. Turned still. Hey! So no, still turned, regardless of what happened. You already know.
The deaths of Melly's two closest pals don't seem to bother him at all. However, unbeknownst to Melly, just 30 minutes prior to the crime, security camera footage showed him entering the Jeep. This is crucial since cops claimed that the pistol was used from the same location in the vehicle. According to the court documents, they followed the path of the rounds that went off in the vehicle and found that the music proceeded from left to right. It backs up the assertion that they started from Melly's seat in the back left. In order to verify who was who on the security camera footage, they also put Juvie's mother on the stand. She asserts that Melly entered the rear left seat.
Can you state your name, your full legal name for the jury?
I'm Leon Phillips.
Okay. And are you related to one of the kids in this case?
Yes, I am.
How so?
I'm his mother.
And who is that?
Christopher Thomas.
Ms. Phillips, did you see who entered into the occupants who entered into that gray Jeep?
Yes.
Do you recognize where your son entered that gray Jeep?
Yes.
Which seat, if you can identify for the jury?
He got in the back seat on the right-hand side.
Did you recognize the individual that got into the back seat on the left side, the rear driver's side?
Yes.
And who was that individual?
Janelle.
In a frantic response, Melly's attorneys claimed that no handgun was ever discovered in connection with the crime.
So the first thing is I didn't have a firearm, so I can't know which firearm I'm going to use in order to replicate any of my tests. So I can't make tests for this determination because I don't know what was used.
Okay.
They think that's a strong indication that Melly's drive-by theory was correct. Nonetheless, during the initial trial, more alarming evidence was discovered within Bortlen's home.
Melly's co-defendant YNW Bortlen was booked into a Miami jail Monday night and is being held behind bars on an out-of-county warrant. We just confirmed the warrant is out of Broward County for witness tampering. The warrant obtained by Law and Crime Network states as follows. On or about April 10, 2023, continuing through and including July 22, 2023, Cortland Henry, aka Bortlen, along with others, did unlawfully and knowingly engage in misleading conduct toward another person with the intent to cause or induce them to withhold testimony. The warrant continues the alleged witness had been summoned by the legal process to the jury trial of Jamel Dimmons, aka YNW Melly. The dates in the warrant are important. Jury selection for Melly started in mid-April, and a judge declared a mistrial on July 22nd, the same day the warrant claims Bortlen allegedly tampered with the witness.
The pictures of purported notes found during the investigation were then made public. House raid of Bortlen's residence because there were drawings showing the whereabouts of certain jurors and another piece of paper describing each juror's appearance. It gave the impression that Bortlen was preparing to get in touch with the jurors and either remove or tamper with them in order to keep Melly safe.
To keep it real, this is sloppy. Bortlen, how the f you gonna have the notebook of the jurors in your house? Holy sh! Like, come the f on. It's like doing a and having the surveillance tape in your DVD player or something like that. You know what I mean? Like, come on, bro. Like they raid your crib and the surveillance footage of the is in your DVD player. They be like, oh, okay, thank you, brother. This can't be at your crib.
However, Bortlen will not be allowed to try to influence the jury now that he is on the Fed's side. The first question they want answers to is, why did Fredo Bang pick up Melly suddenly on the way home? And they will use him to support any evidence they desire.
And Chris Thomas are. So what you're also going to find out is while Mr. Devins is out there on the side of the road, 4 in the morning, 4:42 specifically, he sends a drop pin, digital homing beacon to his current location, to one of his friends, Frederick Givens. Frederick Givens is also involved in the music industry, and he asked to be picked up. Frederick Givens, then about 11 minutes later, is sent another drop pin where Mr. Devins has moved a couple of meters. What you're going to find out as well, though, is these digital leashes, they have more than just phone calls.
However, in a strange turn of events, they are attempting to increase the severity of Melly's accusations that he carried out the action to support a street squad. They claim that by using this picture of Melly with Young Thug, Melly was attempting to join the Red Street team and had committed the crime to establish himself.
Same thing, the use of the slap term, 5-point star, snake. He's saying he's YSL, and he puts up his YNW for life hashtag on it with Mr. Devins has big B hand signs displayed.
Right, and see with individuals again, I'm assuming that's also the Young Thug. That's also unknown.
Yes.
Also important to your investigation, correct?
Yes.
Also publicly available for anyone to see and capture.
Melly told them to permit it since he didn't care that it would be used as evidence. But his attorneys clearly opposed since it exacerbates his potential punishment. Music. The news was written about this. Melly was shouting at his attorneys during this hearing, which is the first time he publicly disregarded the advice of his legal team in front of the court.
Yes, sir. Against our advice, our client must proceed.
Melly was defending his position to his attorneys by saying, "I don't care. As the court heard, I am not in crew. They can't substantiate that."
I'm aware that 924-071 call for an automatic stay while
they were aggravators. They go to membership in a gang. There are things that the jury would have to find before going into penalty.
Not aggravator, that's the death penalty. Aggravator, that's the gang enhancement itself, Your Honor. That's charged. He was charged in committing the murder for the furtherance of the gang, which is an aggravator in terms of the guilt.
Something that they would have to find by way of an interrogatory.
Yes.
The feds will, nevertheless, add a second witness to the case. Melly allegedly asked King. According to a former Oblique member, King Von would have been the ideal person to consult for guidance on dealing with people, given his track record of taking individuals out.
Did Vaughn really tell you that Melly told him that he was two friends?
He ain't come out and say, like, we got into an argument, and so, you know, if you